Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. On this episode, we are joined by Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast.
Anytime you're trying to push the greater good forward, it is always the opposition that's coming, because what they've studied very well is how to dismantle us. They either do it with money. They give certain aldermen and certain people a certain amount of money to shut up, right? They do it through grassroots organizations, because they understand that capitalism and consumerism to people who've never had anything means everything. So if I go from zero to being offered $700,000 overnight, and I know this can feed my family, most people take that money. I always remind people of what happened to Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They both was in the room. They came with the same regime. They offered everybody money. Only two people didn't take it. That was Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Malcolm X left the room and said, I guess we do have some in common. We both are dead man walking. They both were dead in 3 years after that meeting. So we have to be, if you don't know history, if you don't know what's already been done, you keep falling for it. They silenced the people in Ferguson. They silenced the people in Texas. They silenced the people in Kenya. Money talk, and a lot of us don't have enough integrity to turn down the devil when the devil offers you everything you want.
That's what's up. That's true. That's very true.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast, hailing from the Republic of Kenya in East Africa. Sambaza has made a remarkable impact in the podcasting world, earning 3 nominations for the Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA. He also has a nomination for Best Blog by the Texas Creator Awards. He also was a featured presenter at the 2024 Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, and he was a participant in the 2025 Podfest. So, Sambaza, welcome. Hey.
Hey, Jen. Thank you. Another day, another week.
Yes.
Ready for the whatever's coming out there. Hey, it's more and more nominations. I think I need to win something. I need to come up with a trophy.
Yeah. Time to bring it home. Time to bring it home.
Surprise pretty soon. I was going to surprise you, but I'm gonna do it another day.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
so
okay, no surprises. Let's go on.
So, yes.
I gotta do the affirmation this week. What do we have? The affirmation for this week says, I am not pushed by my problems. I'm led by my dreams. That sounds pretty cool. Right?
Okay, one more time. Let me think about that one.
Oh, okay. I'm not pushed by my problems. I am led by my dreams.
Okay, I like that. That's
pretty cool, right?
That's dope. Okay, and so I'm glad to be here with you guys for another episode. We do have a special guest as we continue to amplify the voices of fellow creators and celebrate Black History Month. We want to get into that conversation, exploring the significance of storytelling in Black culture, and also share the creative journey of our guest, who is Sir Ervin Williams III. And we're really excited about it. So, and actually, he is from my hometown, St. Louis. So I'm really excited about that, and had the pleasure of, spending time and supporting the work of this creative that we're going to share with you guys. Sambaza, you are new to our guest, but what are your thoughts about what we're going to get into?
Well, I had a quick look at not a quick look, but I did go in depth into his socials, and there's quite a resume over there. And I am happy to have him and kind of chat with him. I think we've already met a little bit right before he went to the green room, and very fun, just to start off with. So I'm looking forward to a great show, which I think is going to be always. I mean, he's live. So hey,
okay,
come on, let's go.
That's what's up. Okay, so we are ready to introduce our guest at this time. So today we are joined by the incredibly talented Sir Ervin Williams III, a multifaceted creative who wears many hats, including actor, director, writer, producer, educator, poet, activist. Born and raised in St. Louis, Sir Ervin knew from the age of 15 that he wanted to be an actor and has been dedicated to his craft ever since. And he believes that using his artistry to inspire and uplift the next generation. His work as a playwright and director often challenges social and economical injustices, as seen in the powerful productions like The Messengers, a one-man show, Zella, a deeply personal play inspired by his grandmother's story, tackling themes of racism, sexism, classism. Beyond the stage, he has previously produced the hit web series It's Complicated, and now based in Atlanta, Sir Ervin continues to create impactful stories that amplify Black voices and experience. Welcome, Sir Ervin.
Hey, pew, 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 pew. How you all doing? How you doing, Jim? How you doing, Sambaza? Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Welcome.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
He who cannot be here, who was whatever out of sight for a minute. But welcome to the show. We really appreciate you here, and when to invite our guests as we go the African way. I visit a country in Africa, and then I go pick up a proverb. So today's proverb is coming from Nigeria. By the way, Jen, you shout outs to the Jollof Media for hitting you up and giving you a shout out. So they like what you're doing. They like what you're doing. So we're gonna give you some fun facts about Nigeria. Nigeria has over 500 indigenous languages, though English is their official language. Nigeria's film industry, is also known as Nollywood, is the second largest in the world. Nigeria is also the largest oil producer in Africa, and 12th largest in the world. Let's see here. Okay, popular foods in Nigeria include rice, the jollof rice, the one that they have wars on, eba, fufu, and tuwo. Last but not least, Nigeria is home to over 500 ethnic groups, including the ones we mostly know as Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. All right, so now just those are the fun facts. The proverb today says, "The child of an elephant will not be a dwarf." The child of an elephant will not be a dwarf.
Okay. So your thoughts on that, Sir Ervin?
I definitely understand that. What it's saying is you have the gravitas of a great parent, of a great magnitude, of a father or a mother. There's no way that you're going to shrink into that. You're going to grow into that. You should be producing more elephants. Even though we know there are exceptions to the rule, sometimes an elephant may produce a dwarf, because you can be the best parent, you can be the best person in the world, but you still have children who have their own mind and their own free will. That's the exception to the rule. But if you taught them well enough, they will come back and be reminded that they too are an elephant. So I definitely understand that proverb.
That's nice. Thank you for sharing.
Perfect. Now, we start the show. How do you define the role of storytelling in preserving and shaping the Black culture, or shaping Black culture?
I think when I talk to my students and when I talk to anybody about acting or being a storyteller, I had a white lady that was my professor. I hope she's watching right now. Her name is Beverly Brennan. Beverly Brennan told me 20 years ago, she said, never explain to anyone your need to tell the story. If you're not a storyteller, you're just not going to get it. I cannot, if you're an athlete and you don't understand storytelling, you don't get it. So I'm not going to try to spend my time trying to waste it and explain that to you. So with that being said, I also understand that when it's a storyteller, when you are the storyteller, you are the person that when they came to villages, and they decided that they were going to pilgrimage people and raid villages. They killed a few people offhand. One was the king and the queen, of course, their descendants, but they went for the storyteller because the storyteller was the historian. That was the person who held the lineage of the family. That was the person who held the lineage of the kingdom and of the tribes. So to be a storyteller is also to be a historian, to send messages to the future. My job as a storyteller is to make sure that I tell of the past, put a mirror in front of the present, and project the future. And that's the story of all great storytellers, especially those who are artists.
Dope. And on our last episode, we talked about Black history being under attack. Okay, kind of pivoting into our appreciation for Black history. And so we wanted to get your take about that. What does Black history mean to you? Why is it so important that we preserve it in the light of others wanting to dim it down?
I think we have always been under attack. We're not just talking about the people who went through the Middle Passage and who came here as Africans, enslaved people who were stolen and enslaved in Africa, but even the indigenous Black people that were already here, waking up the next day and finding out that you are now a slave, and they killed 90% of the population of the people that were here. We never talk about that. We only talk about the Native Americans who are lighter skinned, but we never talk about the dark skinned indigenous Native Americans who were here already. The ones our great grandparents talk about when they tell you that their grandmother was Cherokee Indian or Blackfoot Indian or Navajo. Those we never talk about their story and how they were murdered. So Black history is not only essential to Black people, it's essential to American history. People want to wipe Black people out of the narrative because we're always the marker on the side. American history can't be great without Black people, specifically Black people. American history can't be great because you had these founders, but you had enslaved people. You had these great founders, but you had rapists. You had these great founders, but you had Black inventors. You had these great founders, but you had people that fought back and rebelled in war. So the reason Black history is always under attack, and it will continuously be under attack, not just under this administration or this regime, because we are a constant reminder that America is not living up to what it promised on paper. In the mortal words of Dr. Martin Luther King, they're not living up to what they said they were going to do. And we as Black people, Moors, Africans, African Americans, whatever you choose to label yourself as, in the immortal words of Dr. Henry Clark, the biggest fist we have to strike with is the Black fist. Everything else is secondary. So until we need to put religion to the side, sexualities, gender, classism, socialism, all of that to the side. The biggest fist we have to strike with is the Black fist. And how are we going to strike? Because that strike will be so massive that it will change the trajectory of Black people in the diaspora around the world.
Great, man. That's some powerful statements here. I think we're gonna dash to the comments because they're coming in hot over there, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like the regular time. We usually have a bit of comments here sprinkling today. We got comments coming in. Let's start from the beginning. Nicholas Powell says, "This dude is a genius." Thank you, Nicholas.
Hey.
I paid him to say that.
Haiti, Colin, I hope I'm saying that right.
Heidi.
She gives you flowers. And the clapping. Ed Campbell says, "Peace, family. Thank you, Ed, for showing up today." And DeMarco Davidson. Now, this must be your dad.
He always has to say something disrespectful.
Proud of you, my
I'm
son.
being professional, sir. Don't be putting these bull crap comments up. Good Lord.
And now we didn't know that you were on a Nollywood movie. Say, Ervin has been on a Nollywood movie as a villain. Nigerians love him.
Yes.
All right, we're going to talk about that. Let's go through the comments. Peggy Calvin, thank you. Ervin, you're the nephew. Wow.
Hey, that's my Peggy.
Dolores James says, "You're great. Welcome to the show."
Hey,
and
Mr. Lord.
Donald Jones say, "Amen, my brother." What you were
What's
saying,
up, Donald?
amen. We needed an amen right there. Now let's go back to the Nollywood.
Oh, yes.
How, we're going to pivot just a little bit. How are we getting to Nollywood as a villain? Tell us the story behind it. and how we got there.
So my sister, Black Pearl, she's my sister in the acting community. She was doing a project with the guy that was from Nigeria, and she asked me could I sit in one day for a reading, and I read for the villain just to help him flush out his script, and he was like, "Oh, I want you as the villain." So they literally made me the stereotypical American horrible. When I tell I'm a horrible person in this film, I'm like a gigolo slash taking advantage of her money. I jump on her. It's all kind of stuff. So Nigerians love to hate me because I'm like Ike Turner on steroids.
Oh, that's great.
Oh,
that's
that sounds
great.
like a good one.
Hey, now that makes an international star right there.
And therefore, I'm gonna claim that international superstar. I'm gonna claim that. Absolutely.
There we go. Now, my next question is: do you feel that there's enough representation of Black stories in mainstream media, and what changes would you like to see?
Absolutely not. Of course, there's absolutely not enough Black stories in mainstream media, especially Black stories that show Black people as three-dimensional characters. We in Hollywood, we choose to recycle what works, right? If it works, why would we change the narrative? But there are so many stories, especially about Black people and about the Middle Passage and what happened to places in West Africa when they stole bodies from there. What happened to these indigenous people in America when they enforced them into slavery? You know, I hear Black people say all the time, "I don't want to hear another story about slavery. I don't want to hear another story about slavery. We were more than that." Absolutely. But I want to hear every single story that was ever written that needed to be told, because there are people in their graves right now who don't have justice, who did not get a justification of their life, and they went to their graves as not only second-class citizens, but as people who were less than animals. There are so many horrific stories that haven't been told. We don't talk about the bucking forms enough. And St. Louis was a huge city that had that, where they had men and women mating like animals and having babies every 9 months, or forcing women into labor so they can get an enslaved child sold faster. We don't talk about the men who were raped in front of their wives, taking their manhood. We don't talk about the experiments of them skinning Black people and turning them into leather book bags and taking their teeth and putting it into their mouths and their hair, making them pillows. We don't talk about that. So the representation of the stories that need to be told, we don't talk. And we also don't talk about the Black people who actually fought back. The Nat Turners of the world, the Toussaint Louvertures of the world, the rebellions in East St. Louis and all over the country. There were enslaved people who fought back. I had to change my narrative on how I even speak about slavery, because Black people in America, we say slaves. They were slaves. These people weren't slaves. They were enslaved people. They were doctors. They were lawyers. They were mathematicians. They were all of these things, and they were enslaved. And that's a total different connotation, because an enslaved person have rights. You have the ability to get free. When you are a slave, you do not. You are born a slave, you die a slave. And we have to change our narrative around that word, period.
Actually, you know, I was listening to an NPR story the other day where this family was trying to trace their history back. This is about the land, the 40 acres and a mule. They actually have found, okay, I'm going to go to some Black History Month here for a minute. Spare me this part. So they found some records of where people were being offered land. Now, guess who holds the information? The Mormons. And there's a mountain somewhere. This is wild. There's a mountain somewhere that has a library full of all these stories, where they have all this information that they've been storing for years and years, which they purchased from the national museums and kept it there for themselves. So now they're giving it out. And because of AI and what we have right now, you're able to see who got what and who inherited what, and people are finding out stories. Now, this lady, one of the ladies who was being followed in that story, talks about her grandmother. She never said she was a slave. She will say they were in bondage. They were not slaves. All the time she said we were in bondage. And that was kind of a great story in terms of, people getting to know their history. One other fact about us as Kenyans in Africa, the British, when they had all this information that they had about Kenya, what they did, they actually suppressed all that information. And it's funny, you say, Sir Ervin, in America, you have this quest to know the truth, to search for the truth. What we're finding out in Kenya is that we're not trying to find out the truth. We're trying to get the hush hush. We're like, okay, the past is the past. We're not going to focus on the past, even though right now, this upcoming generation of kids are the ones who are going back to history and wanting to find out what exactly happened. But our parents and grandparents, they were like, nah, there was so much atrocity. Let's just forget about it and keep moving on. And I think this is something to do with maybe the religion or maybe the culture that we had. But I do appreciate that we are trying to get back to our history.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you this, because we could not imagine the atrocities that our parents went through. So imagine what our grandparents went through and what their parents went through. Sometimes things are so painful. Toni Morrison has a quote that says, all pain is the same, no words, right? Sometimes pain is so traumatic. We haven't been taught to deal with our trauma. We've been taught to survive through our trauma. And before we try to place that trauma on our generations to come, we will rather swallow that and go to the grave with it. But unfortunately, we don't have that choice. If we want to get free from bondage, of microaggressions, of systematic oppression, if we want to get free from those things, we have to ring the bell to our children of what happened. Paul Mooney, I had opened up for Paul Mooney years ago, and Paul Mooney said something so profound at the time, and I didn't realize it until after his death. He said that the older generation, he said this younger generation, you guys try to appease white America. You want to pet it, and you want to treat it like a puppy, and you want to place it in the best places all the time, and you want to protect it. He said the whole time you're petting this creature like it's a puppy and making sure that everything is great about it. But the older generation know that's a wolf that you're petting. And as soon as you turn your back or you do something that it doesn't want to have done, it will attack you. And let me say this clearly, because people always want to say bigotry. This is not all white people, okay? But what history has taught us as a society, the accumulative to protect whiteness will always be greater than friendship of Black people. It just is what it is. We will protect whiteness at all costs, because with whiteness come power. With whiteness come prestige. With whiteness come privilege. It just is what it is.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting. And so I'm going to pivot from our plan, because I do want to talk about your project, but there's so much, like you talked about your acting roles that you've done. You also spent some time as an activist, and I wanted you to share about what some of those memories of activism.
Well, it's funny because now I'm down here in Atlanta and I work in a place that don't know what I do. Some of the people are here tonight in the audience, so I proudly tell them go blow the whistle. Sometimes you have to pretend to shrink yourself in spaces so that the people that are in power don't necessarily recognize all that you bring to the table, because they either do two things. They try to eliminate it, or they get intimidated by it and try to force it out the door. So I'm always an activist. I'm always activated, no matter what the platform is, whether it's in corporate America, whether it's in education, whether it's out in the streets protesting. I'm always an activist, because what's right is right, and what is ours is ours. So we're either going to stand up and fight for it or not. I don't want to go into too much detail about what I've done and how I've done things, but I will say this: as long as you have a voice, as long as you have a platform, as long as you know the difference between right and wrong, as long as you maintain some kind of humanity through your God spirit, there are so many humans who are losing their humanity. And I don't think that we've gotten to the point to where we realize what COVID did to us, because there's so many people that you can't empathize. We can't empathize with what's going on with the Hispanic community. We can't empathize what's going on with the white community, with the Black community, with the LGBT community. We can't empathize because something has happened spiritually to us with our humanity. And it's a very sad, and it's low-key depressing, because if Gladys Knight said in one of her old songs, Memories, when she was talking about the good old days, and she was like, as bad as we thought they were then, these will become the good old days for our children. So if these are the good old days for our children, what are we turning over to them in the world? So that's why we have to stay activated, because there's a whole generation coming behind us that needs to know what happened before they got here, and that this fight is not new. This is the same fight Martin Luther King had, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Marcus Garvey, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass. We can go down the list of people who's been fighting this great fight. Our job is to push the ball a little bit up the hill as far as we can. One day, the generation will get to the top and that ball will roll over. So our job is to keep pushing as long as we can.
Absolutely. And Sambaza, I want you to share too, because you found yourself stepping into some activism shoes.
Oh,
And, you didn't really plan. It kind of happened by accident, if you will. But you just felt compelled to react to what's going on. Something isn't right. You want to speak up about it. And you actually, speaking up is a lot. Some people don't feel comfortable, will not, and then you actually did a little bit more than that. So please
right.
share about.
We were having an issue that was going on back in Kenya, where there was just a regular thing. Bills are put out there, and people are saying we're tired. We're not going to be taxed as much, and we want a fair share. We see money being misappropriated, and they went into action, went out and went into a strike. Now, what was cool about this thing? It was done by the Gen Z, and this was one of the strikes. It'll be one of those strikes that set up a bar. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was shot at. Nobody was broke the windows or businesses or whatever, dismantled anything. They just walked, protested, and that was it. Well, the next day, when they went back again, now they were met with force, and a lot of people got shot. Some people got killed. And for us, it was like, okay, you had a protest that happened the day before where it was quiet, nobody got hurt, no businesses were ransacked or anything like that, which is usually what happens in all of them. All of them usually have that. That's the one thing that happens. Businesses have to shut down for the whole day. That time, businesses were open. People were walking through. It was so great that even the businesses were giving water to the people. Hey, here, have some water. Keep moving. Just keep going. Just do what you got to do. Never happened like that. So after this, whatever happened, the next action that happened caused people to now say, hey, this is not right. You cannot be killing our kids. You cannot be arresting our kids and stuff like that. So we had to protest from all over the world. And that's how I got myself into it. And since I was in Dallas, there was Los Angeles was doing that. Washington, D.C. was doing it. And we decided in Dallas to come up together and go ahead and protest. It did teach me a lot of things, and a lot of people did come out. And I think what that resonated to the people out there is that we care. Doesn't matter which part of the world we're in, everybody cares, because at some point in time it does affect us over here. So that's how I got into the speaking part of now having to protest, and something that I've never done in my life.
We definitely appreciate you for stepping into that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate you stepping into that, because we need more people. I think people are afraid, and I won't use the word coward, because we don't know what people have on the line, so I won't use that word. But what I will say is that if everybody don't stand up, they're going to continuously keep doing what they're doing. It's going to continuously be in people in power, people who think they're better than you because of the color of their skin, but also because of greed. What happened to you guys in Kenya is the same thing that happened out in Ferguson. Ferguson was having very peaceful protests, but every night at 12 o'clock, we had a provocateur. And that provocateur may have been part of the Ferguson Police Department. They may have been part of some white nationalists or regime. And every night at 12 o'clock, a rock got thrown at the police officers. And now tanks coming down the streets, and now smoke and all that other stuff. So it is always, anytime you're trying to push the greater good forward, especially for Black people, it is always the opposition that's coming, because what they've studied very well is how to dismantle us. They either do it with money. They give certain aldermen and certain people a certain amount of money to shut up, right? They do it through grassroots organizations, because they understand that capitalism and consumerism to people who've never had anything means everything. So if I go from zero to being offered $700,000 overnight, and I know this can feed my family, most people take that money. I always remind people of what happened to Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They both was in the room. They came with the same regime. They offered everybody money. Only two people didn't take it. That was Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Malcolm X left the room and said, I guess we do have something in common. We both are dead man walking. They both were dead in 3 years after that meeting. So we have to be, if you don't know history, if you don't know what's already been done, you keep falling for it. They silenced the people in Ferguson. They silenced the people in Texas. They silenced the people in Kenya. Money talk, and a lot of us don't have enough integrity to turn down the devil when the devil offers you everything you want.
That's what's up. That's true. That's very true. Yeah. Jen, you want to dive down into the comments?
Yes.
All right.
So here we
go. Here. I'm going to go back. After Dolores said amen. No, it was... No, back up. I think it was after Donald Jones said amen.
That's
Panama.
right. Okay.
Jack says, Sir Ervin, it's awesome.
What's up, Monz? This is going to be an interesting conversation tomorrow in the office. I work in a cubicle, guys. And when I tell you, it is a different life because, you know, people don't want you to be great, but I'm glad that I have people on the line that want me to be great. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And you do have a
lot. Of course.
Brooke P says, I'm here to continue to be a fly on the wall to see great things come for Sir Ervin III.
Oh, thank you, Brooke. I love her. She always supports. What's up, Brooke? Harris, bing, 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 bing.
And all jokes aside, I'm proud of my friend for everything that he has achieved. He's an inspiration. See, you get all those.
Thank you, Marco. Don't make me drop a thug tear. Come on, fam. Don't make me drop a thug tear. I'm too gangster for that.
Peggy Calvin says, Ervin, you're an excellent educator. I learned so much from you. I am proud of your courage to speak the truth.
See, that they trying to make me cry. That's my auntie right there. Hey, Peggy, stop it now. Stop it. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Dolores says, amen. Talk of STL St. Louis says Ervin is such an amazing talent.
Oh, thanks. What's up, Chuck? That's my brother. Once again, I paid these people to say these things, y'all. I paid them handsomely. I gave
you must be paying them handsomely.
$13 in food stamps. They
Jeanette,
got it.
They say, okay, your bro says preach. Jeanette Days says amen.
What's up, Jeanette?
Miss Sierra Simrel MA says facts, Irv.
What's up,
Peggy
Sierra?
Calvin
Facts.
says amen. Yes. And last, Miss Sierra Simrel says, I know the truth is coming out tonight, Sir Ervin.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sierra. I appreciate you tuning in.
All right. Now, they talk about you being an educator, and I think you said you moved over from St. Louis to Atlanta.
Atlanta, yes.
You don't mind sharing what you do as an educator?
Oh, yes. I'm a certified English teacher. I'm certified grades 4 through 12, as well as in theater. So I taught English in middle school for 10 years. In high school for 10 years. I taught in middle school for 5 years. So that's what I do. So I am an English teacher and a historian, and I'm a black male English teacher. So I'm like a unicorn. So the way I explain that to people is like this. Black male teachers are 3% of all teachers in education. I am 0.5% of the 3%. And I always say, did you have a black English teacher, a black male English teacher before college? The answer is usually no. So that's who I am.
Okay. And so you teach theater in the school as well?
Yes, I do theater as well. So I combine theater and English, but I'm the person that was in the building that was over the Black History programs. I'm the person that if there was a play in the building, I'm over the plays. I was that guy.
So here's my question, and this was when you have the kids there, and how are they receptive to theater as a means of expressing themselves?
So as an educator, we all understand that educators understand something that society don't. And that's that children learn by their senses, okay? You have the auditorical learners, they need to hear it. You have the visual learners, they need to see it. You have the tactile learners, they need to touch it. You even have people who have oral fixations. They have to pick things up and put it in their mouth for them to learn it. That's just the way certain people learn naturally. So most children do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Once these kids know you care about them, once these young adults know you care about them, they will go up and beyond for you because you are that father figure that may be missing in the home. But with that being said, as a Black male educator, you are everything they love and everything they hate. You are the father who beat their mother up. You are the uncle who tried to molest them. You are the cousin who stole from them. You are all of those things before you open your mouth. You have to prove that you are not those things. And sometimes that takes layers of pulling back. Because why would I trust you, Black male educator, and you're gonna do the same thing my father done? That's why I always tell, especially Black men who mentor, who are fathers. If you can't be anything else in a child's life, be a man of your word. They are used to people not being a man of their word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If I say I'm going to give you $5 for each A you get, give that $5. If I tell you when I get home, I'm kicking your ass, I'm kicking your ass when I get home. Because they need to know that somebody is there who means what they say and say what they mean, and they follow through with it. So once you get that, theater is the perfect realm for geniuses. The perfect realm. That football player who can't express himself because he's told that you're not masculine if you express yourself a certain way. Theater teach you how to communicate. It teach you public speaking. It teaches you improvisational skills to be able to speak and think on your feet. It teach you discipline. It teach you how to tell a story. It teach you how to become whatever you want to be in life. So not only do it teach you, it's great to be able to get on stage and recite Shakespeare and do Othello and all of these things, but the gravitas that comes with it, it teaches you everything. Everything. Theater is the number one place to teach you how to deal with people of all walks of life and find a common goal. I may not like you. You may not be the best singer. You may not be the best writer or the best dancer, but we have a show we have to do. And all of us have to pull together and put up this show. That's what theater teaches you. It teaches you how to work with multifaceted, different people. Theater has taught me how to work in the office space that I'm working in right now. Because if I didn't put on an act every day when I walk in this door, I'd be being carried out in handcuffs. Because people be trying to play me like I'm crazy, and I don't like to be gaslit. So, that's either
not handcuffs.
I'm not Christian enough not to punch somebody in the face,
I'm going to move back to what you just said about being a man of your word. Because I always tell my son this one thing. I tell him, for a man, your word is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. It's worth $1 million and then some. It's worth $1 trillion because you will never be able to tell a person like, hey, I'm going to be there at 5:00. They'll know that at 5:00 you're going to show up. If you tell your wife, I'm going to do this or I'm going to help you out, they know you're going to do that. Why? Because they trust your word. That part, I told him even money will never buy your word. That you cannot do anything. That's what makes a man. Anything else, yes, money will just add on to it. But just being truthful and honest and be to your word. If you say, like you say what you say and do what you do, people will know who you are and trust you with what you do.
And they'll give you grace because when you can't do it, right, they understand that you wanted to do it, but something came up. And when you have that kind of grace, like I know two of my great friends are on here, my brothers, DeMarco Davidson and my boy Chuck. We don't have, if DeMarco say he's going to do something, I know he's going to do it. I don't have to pick up the phone 30 times and say, did you forget to do? I don't have to do any of that, and vice versa. Same thing with Chuck. So you want to be able to also surround yourself with men who are men of their words and do what they say they're going to do. I be feeling so sorry for my sisters because they be talking about these deadbeat dads and all this other stuff. I don't know them, man. All my male friends take care of their children. All my male friends who are in relationships take care of their children and children that's not there. So unfortunately, I don't know those men you speak of because they're not in my inner circle. Amen. They're not my caliber of class of men.
I am. Oh wow, that's deep right there.
It is deep.
We're gonna go back to the comments today.
Okay,
where
a couple
some people are giving us some questions we have to ask you here.
Okay, send the question.
Normally they can ask questions that we can ask you as well. I forgot to say questions are allowed here, so we can ask them some questions. So let's go back to,
8:30.
I think Sierra said,
Okay.
I know the truth is coming out tonight, Sir Irv. Okay. Tahir Moore said, my firstborn Irvin has only ever made me proud.
These are that's my brother. See, this is what I'm talking about. I told you, Jen, they just gonna get on here and be disrespectful. I don't
Shout
have
out
time
to
for these
Tahir.
folks getting on my nerves. I love you, bro.
DeMarco Robinson Davidson says, Irvin is secretly running away from being a gospel music writer. He's a living testimony.
These are facts. If anybody know I'm a living testimony, that brother right there know I'm a living testimony.
There you go. Fact. Jeanette Day says facts. Once they trust you, we gotta protect them. Oh yeah, that's
Absolutely.
nice. Yep. Miss Sierra Simrel says, woo, woo. Say that, Sir Irvin. Here we go. Peggy Calvin says theater teaches you to work with others and take direction and to listen as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Therese Cunningham says, wow, this is very informative. Thanks, Auntie Peggy, for the invite.
Hey, what's up, Teresa?
Tahir says again, facts. You were dropping facts. Miss Sierra says again, you have to be careful in working spaces because they don't care about you for real.
Facts. That's facts.
Tahir says, no, seriously, Irvin is one of the most loyal and consistent friends you can ever have. I love my bra to the moon and back. Oh, there we go. You know, we need to have this.
I love you too, Rob.
That kind of.
They trying to make me cry. They know I'm a thug. They trying to make me drop a tear. That's what they trying to do.
And shout out to Hear More. We're familiar with your work and we appreciate you in the space. So shout out to Hear. All right. I think there's another.
Yes, Sir Ervin, kudos to our English teacher. I still have contacted with my 8th grade teacher, Miss H. Weaver. She didn't or wouldn't allow us to be ignorant. She cared.
Oh yeah, we love Miss Hattie Weaver. She's talking about Hattie Weaver. She was also a professor at Harris State University. Shout out to Miss Hattie Weaver, Beverly Brennan, Gregory Carr, Dr. Reynaldo Anderson. These are people, Mary Peer. These are people who helped form us in college and literally took us under their wings and helped us. My theater teacher paid to have me moved when the police put a gun to my head at my house. So we don't have teachers like that. And I can say that the police officer literally told me if I blink, black is going to be the last thing I see. So Ferguson was not new for us that was in St. Louis. Reason Ferguson popped out because it was close to white tax dollars. Because had it happened on the north side or the west side or even the south side, unfortunately, it would not have been a story. So I'm thankful to the Mike Brown family for, unfortunately, their son being the sacrifice for seeing what was really going on in the city of St. Louis during that time, because it's been going on for years. And so I love that police reform came in.
Oh, awesome. Tahir says, thank you so much. Donald Jones say, how do you feel about today's events, superpower Elon Musk and Donald Trump? I guess with what we're talking about here, with regard to the Black History Month, there was that I don't know today's events.
Is that Donald Jones, my cousin? Is that DJ? What's up, DJ? I don't know if that's Donald Jones, my cousin. Now, what's up, DJ? That's my first little brother. That's my little brother. That's my cousin, but my first little brother, because I didn't have no little brothers.
Then we got a Kendrick Super Bowl performance thoughts, if that's okay with you.
Okay, so let me go with the first question.
Black history.
Okay.
The first question with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Okay, you get what the Honorable Farrakhan stated that the chickens are coming home to roost. What America is experiencing right now are the chickens coming home to roost. It's simple as that. This attack on Black people, once again, is nothing new. Black people are like roaches. We're not going anywhere. No matter how much they try to destroy us, no matter how much pressure they try to put under us, we're not going anywhere. What I want Black people to get, anybody that's listening right now, I want you to understand the resilience of African people. I want you to understand the resilience specifically of Black American people. We have been so resilient. When the Great Depression came, it didn't affect Black people the way it did white people because we already were poor. We already had a bartering system. We already worked outside the system. So we know how to survive. If we can't do anything else, we know how to survive in tragic situations in this country. What I want them to do, though, is also check your sanity. This fight is everybody's fight. But we as Black people, we have to stop getting in the front lines for people who are not willing to stand on the front lines with us. We have had white abolitionists, we have had Hispanic abolitionists, we have had Jewish abolitionists and people that fought for the liberties of Black people. But we also have to understand that the same people that fought were an exception to the rule, because 80% of the others that did not, they wanted to get into proximity of whiteness. And so you chose to vote a person in that's going to deport your grandmother. You chose to vote a person in who's breaking the DEI initiatives. And if you know anything about that, white women are privileged from that more than anybody in this country. That's who you voted for. So, of course, now that he's doing exactly what he said he's going to do, we have to watch it unfold. But Black people do know if they attack women's rights, if they attack Hispanic people, if they attack LGBTQI communities, who do you think they're coming for next? So if you do not have a plan, and I'm not putting scare tactics out there, if you do not have a plan for you and your family, do know that they're coming for you next. Next is going to be Black people, interracial couples, all of those things on the chopping board. In law, they teach you to defend the law that you don't like the most. Because once that law is overturned, everything on the board can be overturned. Hence, Roe v. Wade.
Yep, that one. Yep, the Roe v. Wade was a major one right there. Mm-hmm. And then the Kendrick Lamar. We're putting it into perspective. The show.
Listen, I'm so proud of Kendrick. I understand, sometimes artists do highbrow artistry, right? You have different types of art, and people that's not artists don't understand that. You have demonic art. You have people that's out there doing some very demonic, dark things in their art. But you also have protest art. You also have this thing called satire, to all my English teachers out there, and also these things that's satire and I can't even think of the word right now that I'm looking for. Not satire. The way of reflecting and put a mirror to you. So Kendrick Lamar performance was more of a protest performance than an entertaining performance. And most people don't catch that because most people, I don't say most people, a lot of people don't like to read or read anything that's out the zeitgeist of a sixth grader level. The entire American population reads on the sixth grade level. That's the average. So anything over every newspaper, every magazine, every blog, there's usually written on a sixth grade level. So people who do read can understand. But once you move up to that 8th, 9th, 10th grade college level thinking, that majority gets smaller. And if you haven't necessarily read all the books that some people have read, you'll miss a lot of the symbolism in his show. There was a great deal of symbolism and satire in the show.
Oh, nice.
You on mute, Jen.
There we go. No, a lot of the responses to it were saying, "Oh, this is the game. I just want to drink my beer and not think hard." And what do you think about that type of response to what he did?
I think those people are very dismissive. They want to be dismissive to the Black plight and the Black fight, because if one thing enslavers did very well, that was made you believe that it wasn't happening, right? And because if I acknowledge what I've done to you, I also have to acknowledge the atrocities of what kind of human am I. Toni Morrison said it the best. She said, if a person has to be on their knees for you to feel powerful, are you indeed powerful? And the answer is no. So no, I would never acknowledge the devil that harmed you the God that I worship can be the devil that harms you. Like, they quote, every man's God is somebody else's devil. Why will I acknowledge that this happened to you? Because to give acknowledgement is to give reverence to your pain. It's to give reverence. I mean, everything that my father and my mother has taught me is a lie. If my mother, DeMarco mother, your mother, Jen, y'all mothers are old enough to remember colored only water fountains and white water fountains, so are they mothers. So this is not your great grandmother. This is not your great great grandmother or grandfather who did this. This is your mama. This is your grandmother. These are the people who committed these atrocities. So of course I'm not going to acknowledge something like that happened to you guys, because that means I have to say everything that I was taught to believe in was a lie, and I benefited from said lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow.
Let's go to we're gonna go to the comments, and then we're gonna talk about your plays, because today has been all right, we start from Peggy. Says hi, Therese. She
I
said
thought we were here, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yep, right there. Sorry. Miss Sierra says yes. That's how the Civilian Oversight Board in St. Louis. That's how the Civilian Board in St. Louis City. The state is currently looking to take away local control. Yep.
And isn't that crazy? I'm from St. Louis, so you have. Let me explain what she just said. Thank you for that, Sierra, because that's the truth. In St. Louis, let's do a small history lesson, people. In St. Louis, Jefferson City, Jefferson owned slaves. St. Louis was a free city. However, St. Louis sold slaves at the Laclede Landing. The Civil Rights Movement, the Dred Scott case, is where that was done, on the corner. You can still go down there and see the chains on the wall in City Hall in the court to this day, where they sold enslaved people. Jefferson City has been running St. Louis for hundreds of years. Now, get this right. You had people who believed that Black people should be slaves fighting against white people who believed that they should not. So brothers fighting brothers. And at the end of the Civil War, the brothers who believed in slavery still hold the purse strings in the city of St. Louis. It doesn't make any sense. They have politics in their back pocket. They have politicians in their back pocket. And why would people who wanted you to be a slave innately ever want to do something for you that's going to benefit you as a whole, as a people? It is what it is. St. Louis needs to get its own power by any means necessary. I don't know what we have to do because I'm not a politician. That's not my job. But I know we have to break away from Jefferson City. I shouldn't have to call Jefferson City on Jen just to get something done about Jen's poor service here in St. Louis. It makes no sense.
The next one is, how do you feel about the upcoming election in St. Louis City? 3 Black candidates and 1 white.
I feel this. I feel the same way that I felt about another particular election that just passed. They know that they can't beat this person alone. So we're going to throw some horses in this race, and we're going to divide that Black vote, because we probably can't beat this person. And I'm not going to mention any names, because once again, I'm not above cursing nobody out in St. Louis as a politician. I know these people behind closed doors, and I'll punch somebody in the face. So I ain't trying to catch a case. Okay. So we throw a horse in the race to divide the vote. And then we find a person who's going to win, right? And then we probably couldn't beat, let's just say, Jim Scott. We probably couldn't beat Jim Scott one-on-one. But you can beat Jim Scott, and then we can beat you. So that's exactly what's going on in St. Louis right now.
Wow. And Therese said, Miss Sierra, I think it was part of that comment. And hey, Therese, that's Denise. Thank you for getting on the podcast. This is your cousin. That's Peggy, Miss Peggy. Sierra says, hey, Miss Therese. I guess we're going, going back and forth. And then DeMarco says, what does Ervin want to be known for when he joins the Ancestors? That's a nice question.
First of all, that's never going to.
Before you answer that, let me go down the comments, and then we'll bring it back and hold on to that. Tiffany says that part that was about the DEI and stuff going on with regard to the women DEI. Therese says, "Hey," and then Tiffany says, "Sit and watch the show." That's exactly what's going on.
Mhm.
And then when is his book coming out? So those are two questions that are going to come out. And then Donald Jones gives you flowers. Peggy says, "Speak the truth. Speak. Um, talk the talk." Bianca says,
What's up, Bianca? Pew, pew, pew. Peace up, A-Town down, homie.
all right, Miss Sierra says, "Hey, I was here for all the K Dot's subliminal messages. I signed up to dance with him. LOL. It was created from Ferguson unrest for accountability of the police." That was, I think, the what we're talking about before. And it says
Mhm.
teach. Now let's go back up all the way to. Should we reserve this to be the last question, like the one that you're gonna give us to? I think we'll reserve this to be the last question. So we'll say let's think about it. Let's talk about the book. Um, when is the book coming out? When
It's
is your
coming
book coming?
out sometime this year. Listen, this book is going to drop. I have a collection of books that I'm writing specifically for Black men, but also Black boys to get into the literary space of young adult novels. Because Black boys don't have a lot of novels that start us and show us as victorious, opposed to
Mm-hmm.
like let's see, like Harper's To Kill a Mockingbird. The only Black character in there that's a male gets killed innocently. So we have to find things that Black boys are reading that's contemporary, that's modern as well, and something that's going to get them. But the book that he's talking about, I have a book called Mr. Duplicity. It's a memoir. It's like a first part memoir mixed with intertwined with poetry and spoken word and things of that nature. The book is done. I just have not released the release date because I have to put marketing on it. I refuse to be one of those people that have a book and only sell 2 books. So I'm putting the marketing on it. So if anybody's online that's willing to invest so I can promote my
Hey.
book the way that I want to promote my book, please send the money directly to Ervin J. Williams on his Cash App. ERVINJ Williams. I take all donations.
All right, we'll put your link on the show notes and have people kind of whoever
Yeah.
wants to help out. I mean, you've given us a lot of gems and knowledge today. We do
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
that. Thank you.
Jen was going to ask you about your plays because I did see you
Yes.
got some plays
Yes,
going
we're
on.
excited about the new project, Frida,
Mhm.
and please share. And I already got my tickets.
Yeah, thank you for getting the ticket too. So, Frida, we're doing the reading at Harris-Stowe State University. Frida is a story about the women in the 6888. Let me say this, because I know it's going to be a great deal of people who get tickets thinking that it's part of Tyler Perry. Hey, if you have to do that, go for it. But I started writing this play back in 2011. I started writing it for my Aunt Peggy, the person who's online. I'm going to try to get through this without crying. The person that's online right now in 2011 because I wanted to do something with my aunt because she's one of the people who inspired me to do plays and film and get on stage. My aunt is like the Cicely Tyson in St. Louis, very profound actor. And then I wrote the entire Act 1 in 2011, and then the character stopped speaking. 13 years later, all of a sudden, Frida walked back in the room and she said, "I want to talk again." It was 6 months before they announced that they was about to bring out the new 66668 movie. So I know it was all serendipitous, and I know it was all spirituality that was kicking in because this is going to launch my path to actually put this up. So right now we're doing a fantastic reading. It's starring my Aunt Peggy Calvin as Frida, as older Frida, Reese Jones as younger Frida. We also have Black Pearl as Dorothy. We have ex Blue Rain as Henrietta. We have Moa Burns as Ruth. We have Valerie as Cheryl. We have Joe Anthony as Harold. Myself, I'm Walter. We have Nisha as the nurse. And we have Smoogie, the comedian, as Benjamin. And I'm sure I missed something. I'm trying to get everybody. Oh, we have Ivy Coleman as our narrator and Ryan Lane on lights and sound. Listen, this is going to be a reading that is going to knock your socks off because it's that kind of story. It is another version of the 6888 story. It's not the grand gesture version. I think Tyler Perry did a fantastic job. I don't care what the critics say. He did exactly what he was supposed to do presenting these women to the world, and you go do your own research. We gave you the base, we gave you the blueprint. Go do the research. And if you don't know about the 688 women, they were the first female battalion in the Army, and they shipped 17 pieces of mail through the country that was backlogged for almost 3 years. So they basically was the internet in the 1940s. They were the cell phones in the 1940s. They were given this job because they thought that they were going to fail at doing it. They gave them 6 months to ship out 17 million pieces of mail that's been eaten by rats. The addresses are off, everything. These women did it in not only 3 months, cut the time in half. They created an entire new system for the Army to get mail to the soldiers and back home. And I want to say this because it's something they didn't really attack. They didn't speak of in the movie. These women came back home. There was no parade. There were no honors. They were rumors that the only reason they went over in the first place to Europe because black males, they got tired of black male soldiers screwing white women. So they were prostitutes over there. They really weren't in the Army. So these women came back and were ashamed of the greatness that they did. So their grandchildren didn't even know they were in the Army. Because to say that you were a black woman in the Army at that time is to say that you was a prostitute for the United States. And these women had so much dignity and so much class, they refused to acknowledge that that was what they was doing over there. So for them, for their story to be alive and living, it was 855 black women. Every last one of them have a story. I'm just telling the story of the 6 that came to me.
That's amazing. And thank you for, picking up the story again so that you can complete it. I mean, I'm really looking forward to what you have to bring. And I know this is going to be great. So,
yeah, I appreciate that. And my Aunt Peggy is about to knock y'all socks off. This is a reading. So this is a fundraiser for me to put the actual production up down here in Atlanta in full, and then to take that and put a even bigger production back up in St. Louis. I will always come back to St. Louis and perform. And I want to say this before we leave, because I don't know how long I have and I don't want to forget it. St. Louis, when you are giving the opportunity to work with someone, work with them. We always talk about people they don't come back, they don't do nothing for us, they don't blah, blah, blah. We always talking about that. But when you are giving the opportunity to work with something that you've been wanting to do and people reach out to you, be a man or woman of your word and show up. Shirley Rapp has a very famous quote, and I don't know if it's her quote or not, but she was the first person I heard say it. And the quote was, if you always ready, you don't have to get ready. When people come for you, be ready. Be ready to move forward, and it will open up so many different doors for you.
You're right.
Amazing.
Now, let's go to the comments, and then we'll get to know where your socials are. We'll leave that to that. So this is how we're going to go. We're going to do the comments.
Jason Little as Jimmy Lee. I knew I was forgetting somebody. So I to my mind, Jason. Not my heart. I love you, brother. Jason Little as Jimmy Lee. And he's going to be hilarious. Everybody's going to be fantastic. But it's something that's about to knock y'all socks off. I'm telling you.
Good.
Yeah, and I wish I was traveling that way.
I know, right?
It sounds like I'm missing out. I'm getting the FOMO here in Dallas. All right, I think we stopped at Jeanette Days. Welcome to the show, Miss Jeanette. And I don't say if I didn't say that. Cortez McKinney says, "Do you feel Tishara has done enough for St. Louis? If not, why not move on?" Maybe you can give a quick answer.
So this is what I would say to that. Tishara can do everything possible for St. Louis that she has in her bag. It still would not be enough. We're not going to, and I have to say what's right and stand on it, whether I agree with your politics or the way that you move or not. What we are not about to do is blame a singular Black woman for all of the atrocities of 50 years of violence in the city of St. Louis. Plus, we're not going to do that. We're not going to put this on her shoulders and say, you're the reason that A, B, C, D has been happening, because actually St. Louis has went down to crime. Let's acknowledge that. So what we're not going to do is do that to her. I think what happens is now I'm about to be controversial. A lot of men in positions of power don't like to see Black women in positions of power. And when they see those Black women in positions of power, they do everything they can to tear them down. We have watched this through history. They did it to Mary Cloud Bethune. They've done it to Madam C.J. Walker. They did it to Oprah. So when they climb these ladders, you have a gang of people who come out the woolworths and tear them down. I think a lot of conversations of Black people we should have are behind closed doors, and we have to start learning how to be a united front in front of cameras. You don't have to like me. You don't have to love me. You don't necessarily have to agree with me or vote it for me. But when we move out in public, we're moving as one accord. No one should never know that Jen has an issue with Sir Ervin or Ervin has an issue with Sambaza. That should be a behind closed thing, especially if we have a narrative to push forward. Now, I'm not saying Black people are not above reproach and public correction should not be a thing, but it's how you correct each other. Are we calling people out or are we calling people up? We need to start calling people up. Everybody have a suggestion on what Tashara and other people like Kim Gardner and all these other great people, or Wesley Bell, all the Corey Bush, all of them should be doing. Everybody has a suggestion. Nobody picks up the phone and say, how can I help? How can I assist? How can I be of service? So we have to get into that service magnitude. If she's the one holding the mantle right now, how do we assist her? Now, I don't know if she's accepting the help or not, but before we criticize, have we tried to assist her?
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, Sambaza, let's
You're right.
go back.
All right, exactly. Reverence brings mental knowledge of the contents of the heart, which most do not want to recognize, but keep sweeping under already a pile of carpet dirt. I think he was talking about the mental health and within the Black community and what we need to acknowledge. Therese says, hi, cousin Ervin. Peggy Calvin says, what about Jason? And then
I mentioned him. He came to my head.
You also corrected about the 17 million pieces of mail. I know you said it and then you kind of picked up on it. Bianca says, can't wait for the play.
Yes. Bianca was also in the reading that we did down here in Atlanta. She was Dorothy down here in Atlanta. She killed it. Yeah, so shout out to Bianca. She killed it. So she already know what's about to happen to this audience. And we're doing it on a stage in a theater with lights and sound and all of that, Bianca. So it's going to be an even bigger reading.
And Aunt Peggy, Therese is saying, yes, Aunt Peggy is a very phenomenal woman.
Absolutely.
Peggy Calvin says, shut up, Ervin.
She always get mad at me when I gush over her. It's the truth. If I was telling the story, it'd be different. It's the truth.
Jeanette Day says, that's so true, and then preach. Now, we're going to go back up to that question about the ancestors. I think that's going to be your go-to question. But before, I had a question. What about people who want to check in online if they wanted to watch it? Do you have like a link where, some people process the links where you get charged something and then you can get access to it?
Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing a live Zoom, but that's not in motion as of yet because it's things I have to set up to live stream that. And because I'm in the play and my crew is not necessarily all around me in St. Louis, I have to have somebody else to run that. But I am going to stream some things with it for like behind a paywall or something like that. I just have to set that up because once again, this is a fundraiser. And the more I split funds, the less funds I raise.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for everything. And then here's the question. Now, DeMarco, this is a very deep question, and we appreciate that. So here goes the question. What does Ervin want to be known for when he joins the ancestors?
Well, first, I'm never going to die. My energy just going to transfer. The world will end before Sir Ervin Williams is put in the ground. These are facts. Trust me. I'm prophesizing it right now. But it took Dr. Maya to say this and for me to hear it. I don't know what I will be known for when I leave this realm. That's not my decision. Whatever people pull from my work, they're going to pull from my work. Whatever people pull from the experience of me, they're going to pull from that experience. What I'm going to be known for is going to be determined by the people that I affected. And the only way I can explain that, I always go, Jesus didn't write this verse in the Bible. His friends did. So whatever his friends wanted you to know about him, that's what you knew about. And we've all been to funerals and read that obituary. And when, who is this brother they talking about? Because that's not the man that I know, right? But so I don't necessarily want to be known for anything specifically. I do want people to know that I care genuinely, that I love deeply, that I was flawed, that I made mistakes, that I was human, that I had to give myself grace throughout my life. I would love to be known for that. I would love to be known that I was authentic and genuine in my approach with people. Just things that money can't buy. That, I had an insurmountable amount of integrity, but not so much pride that I didn't ask for help. And I had to work through that in my 20s, asking for help and being able not just to ask for help, but receive help was a trauma response that I literally had to work on, because I was always given to by loud givers. And when you are a strong person and when you are a light and people do assist you and help you, sometimes you meet people that want to tell the world how they help. I had to realize that wasn't my job to control their narrative. If you need to tell everybody that you helped me, hey, more power to you, because I needed the help at the time. So you can go around and block your own blessings, but I thank you for helping. So if anything, if I was going to be known for that, I would want to be known for that.
So I want to take this. I'm going to take this questionnaire online tomorrow. I know you always, you always post something of yourself talking to the camera. This is what I'd ask of you. Say tomorrow, tell us, what would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Oh,
no, you're not going to answer it right now. No.
Okay. I've answered that question 1,000 times.
All right, we're going to do it tomorrow.
First thing is make more mistakes. Punch people in the face, make more mistakes. I was so responsible in my 20s. I was taking care of my household, my mama household, helping my sisters, my cousin. I turned 30 and wild out. So I'm sorry I answered the question, but make more mistakes.
All right.
Make more mistakes.
So just tell us tomorrow on one of your reels that you post on Instagram, and then we'll follow you and kind of do a follow-up on that. How about that?
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much for interviewing me. I appreciate this a great deal. Make sure that everybody, you can go to Eventbrite and you can type in Frida and you can purchase those tickets. I have one friend that just donated 10 tickets. I have a block of students from Harris Stowe already reserved on those tickets. Great. So definitely support that. And you can find me on any social media at Sir Ervin Williams. That's Sir SIR Ervin ERVIN Williams. That's on Twitter. That's on Facebook. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok. You can find me under that.
All right. That's the best way to do it. And we appreciate everyone who's been here. You guys have been a great support. Would like you to like and subscribe on our YouTube channels, the Walk by Accident and Sambaza Podcast. It'll mean a great deal for both of us as we try to bring you great shows. With that, Jen, take us home.
Yeah, and Sir Ervin, please stick around for our proper goodbye. Thank you for joining us. We hope that today's conversation has inspired and enlightened you. If you found today's episode meaningful, please consider sharing it with friends and family. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change, and we invite you to stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to continuing these important conversations in the future. All right, and just taking a gander at the comments. More hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I really enjoyed you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you inviting me to the table. There are a lot of people. I'm going to say this before we close out.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people in St. Louis who like to go out their way to try to hide my gifts and hide what I do in the world. I'm even dealing with that down here in Atlanta right now. So I greatly appreciate you for seeing me. I greatly appreciate you for inviting me out to have this conversation and to and join with you all. So it's not unnoticed. And as soon as it is some people in the city of St. Louis, as soon as that big check drop and somebody have to do a big story, there are some places I'm stopping first. St. Louis America is one of them. Kenya Vaughn, shout out to her. Over here on this podcast with Jen, shout out to you. And it's a few others that I'm going to definitely come in and give you the exclusive story. I don't care who's asking for it. You guys gonna get it. Simple as that.
Well, we appreciate that. Shout out to DeMarco. I think he's the whole reason why I even know you. So.
Don't give him no credit.
Last but not least, we got a good deal. Irv, great interview, and Therese gives you hearts. And
thank you.
Did we get another one?
Yeah, we got 2 more.
Yay!
Oh,
yay! Thank you, guys.
You guys are awesome. The comments have been lit tonight, and we appreciate the.
They only got on here because they know I'm ignorant. They know they don't know what's gonna fly out my mouth. They got on here to see what I was gonna say. They try to trip me up with that Tashara question. I know how to play politics, buddy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so DeMarco got to come back now. So since we got Sambaza here, I'm already throwing that out there. He's been a prior guest on Woke by Accident, and we invite him to come back.
Absolutely. I love you, DeMarco. You're my boy, Blue. All right.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna okay. Thank you so much. More comments. You guys are awesome. And okay, wait. Somebody. Okay.
My Peggy just subscribed. Boom.
Oh, thank you. I'm Peggy. Okay.
Everybody who's my people, subscribe. We need more shows like this. Make sure you subscribe and share. And go back and check out some of them other episodes because they're really good conversations. I'll be listening to them in the background.
Yeah, and we have a really good one coming up. Speaking of other fellow American filmmakers like yourself, Sir Ervin, we have Timmy Banks coming up on March 5th. I'm really excited about that. Ooh. She, if you don't recall, if you have BT Plus, Young, Wild, and Free, that's her project, and she's actually nominated for NAACP. So we're really excited to share her story. So I appreciate all you guys for real. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Hit the like button. Okay, DeMarco. Save it.
And Jeanette subscribe. So
yay.
Thank you so much, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to support each other. You know, this is the only way, to keep it going. So absolutely. Okay. Are we ready? Sambaza, you got something else?
No, I am.
Okay. Okay. It looked like you wanted to say something. Hey,
great conversations. I mean, hey, we could talk for hours and hours, but you got to come back.
Okay, for sure. Absolutely. All right. Okay, so stick around, and here we go, guys. Come back and see us. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out. And also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.